I read your autobiography and Hand Stands in the Dark, and I identified with it hugely in some ways. I mean, just in some, but one of the things was that when I was in my secondary school, I was sort of humiliated by the French teacher who got me to stand up and told me I didn't belong there because I was in such a mess. And one of the anecdotes you've got in there that really touched me because of that sort of slightly shared experience of being a manky wee girl was that when you describe that you won an art competition in your primary school, you went along to the headmaster's studies and you've won the art competition, and then he breaks it to you that actually you can't go up on the platform and receive the prize for the school because you don't have a school uniform.
Yeah.
Terrible, eh? The way
it's just awful. I mean, there are so many stories of people who are put down by teachers, yet have inspirational teachers. I mean, Dougie, who wrote the Booker Prize, Shuggy Bain, he recently thanked his teachers online. And I had good teachers as well. I had Miss Miller at my primary school and Mr. Burgess at my secondary school. So for every teacher that drags a child down, there's always one that lifts a child up. And that's the ones we have to focus on as well. But yeah, it's awful. I feel so awful for you that they did that to you. I mean, I don't understand why people would want to become teachers if they just want to hurt kids. I mean, that's just awful.
No. Well, but the thing is that happened after that in your story was that Miss Miller was having to take you back to the classroom, and she went, don't you worry, Janey, don't you be sad. One day you'll be out there on the stage and audiences will be clapping and roaring. That was an amazing sort of thing.
She had such. Well, I used to write short stories in the class. We all did as part of our English composition. She would set us a task to write a short story, and you look a bit like Miss Miller.
Oh well,
you do look like her. You've got the same. I've got a very brilliant visual memory, and she had short hair, she had big glasses, and she had a nice wee face, and she was very calm. She was a very calm woman, and she used to set us a task to write short stories, as all primary school children. It's not like a whole book. It was like maybe 3 pages, and I would write these short stories. And she knew that I was having a hard time. And I remember her coming round beside me and bending down, and she said to me, your short stories are absolutely wonderful. I had some friends round last night and we read the stories out and everybody loved yours the most. And I remember feeling so full of glow and hope at that. And what a wonderful thing to do, to nurture and encourage that child. And when we walked out of that headmaster's office, I can still feel her hand holding mine. She was taking my hand back to the class. She was so angry. I could feel her rage. And she was a young woman in the 60s. So you can imagine the patriarchy that she had to go through. And she was a beautiful, she did look like you should, dark hair, glasses, a nice wee face. She was very slim. She wore like a plain coloured jumper and a long skirt and a wee pair of shoes. And she was very composed. And she had a big smile. I remember she had a big smile. And she leaned right down to eye level and she went, don't you let this get you down. One day, you're going to be up there on a stage and people are going to listen to your stories and they're going to clap and cheer and your artwork is wonderful. Don't you let them do this to you. And I'm like, oh, okay. I never really took it. And I was like, okay, all I knew was my teacher was quite angry, and it upset me that my favourite teacher was angry. And she instilled that absolute core of self-belief in me. And that's a wonderful thing for teachers to do.
Yeah, it is. And I think that's the thing that comes over really in all your stuff, really, is the sense that how we can really sort of support each other.